Hello, and thanks for joining us on this evening's edition of Majority Caucus. We are live on your Joy News channel as usual. Today, indeed, is a very sad day. We will do our best to give our perspectives as to what we think about the outcome, for instance, from the contempt proceedings in the Supreme Court, and what we think about the outcome in terms of the judgment. And whilst we still call for calm, that everybody should remain calm, this is one of the products of the rule of law, and law-abiding citizens, we are obligated to obey some of these outcomes from the judiciary. I have a very important guest in the house today, and we shall introduce him when we come back right after this break. Don't go away. Hello and welcome back to the show. If you're just tuning in, we are live on your Joy News channel, on your multi-TV. Like I said, tonight we'll be taking a quick look of a cocktail of issues, but predominantly amongst them will be the outcome of the contempt proceedings that came to an end today at the Supreme Court of Ghana. The punishment that have been handed down to the contemnors, I'm sure it's a common knowledge for all who have been attentive to the media, and whether or not this would constitute a positive deterrent, as the court envisage that it should be, so that other media houses would learn from the mistakes, into bracket mistakes, of this particular radio station, Munti 100.1 FM. The matters arising. We'll look at also the issues surrounding the NDC in terms of the outcome of the president's accounting to the people tour. It came to an end successfully in Tamale, if I'm not mistaken, and we will take a look at the positive feedback as has made the news on the airwaves. Now tonight, I have in this studio the national organizer of the NDC, who also doubles as the national campaign coordinator for the NDC and the election 2016. It's a very huge responsibility, but he's made time to join us in the studio. Mr. Kofi Adams, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Ali.
Mr. Adams, I'm sure that you followed, even though you're very busy coordinating affairs on the ground, you must have heard about the outcome from the Supreme Court ruling. Let me just put this in perspective. My worry is that with contempt proceedings, at every point in time, the outcome should seek to strike what we call a balancing act. To what extent would the judgment in such cases be deemed as gagging the media, or to what extent should media freedom be allowed to persist? As a national organizer, of course, these are NDC communicators, some of which have found themselves there. I need to know your views on this outcome.
Thank you, Mr. Dawood, and for the opportunity. Good evening to our viewers out there who are regulars and particularly take serious when anytime Majority Caucus is on, because they do know that is the platform where the real issues are discussed, not made up issues, not fabrications, but the real issues, the truth that will move this country to the next higher heights that we all desire to be. So I want to take this opportunity to salute them all out. Despite today being a very bad day for a lot of us who really yearn to continue to push further the frontiers of democracy, I believe that we will find the needed heart and mind to continue to follow this very important platform. Yes, it is true that I've been very busy, but I've been particularly interested in this case from the time it happened all the way through to when the conviction happened and the announcement that sentencing will be today. When that happened, for some of us who have been followers of democratic process and support the freedom of the media, we thought the conviction and giving a lengthy date for sentencing was by itself even a punishment of a sort.
Keeping you in suspense.
Keeping you in suspense. That every day you wake up and you know that you have been convicted. They're now waiting to be sentenced. And so we were all taken aback when today we got the kind of ruling that we got. The NDC respects the judiciary, we respect the executive, we respect the legislature, and indeed we respect the rights of the media. But then the decision of the court, of course, you cannot do anything about, you have to respect. And that is why the convicted persons are today not free. The three contemnors who have been sentenced to 4 months imprisonment and another fine are not free persons. So we cannot say that we're forcing and curtailing the rule of law. But we absolutely disagree with the ruling. Thought that it's harsh, it's severe, considering the fact that these contemnors have shown maximum remorse. And the fact that a lot more other persons in this country, many senior persons, very respectable persons, in country and outside of this country, have condemned the utterances and the comments of these persons and also pleaded to the Supreme Court to temper justice with mercy. I would have thought that they would have aided strengthening our democratic dispensation and indicating that, like it had happened to the executive and sometimes even legislature, where they are taking on and they allow things to go, the court, having given them some level of punishment, wouldn't have carried it further to this harsh level. I think that the punishment is just too harsh. Especially considering the history of this country, where during the election petition hearing, very respected or known lawyers, senior lawyers, who sometimes understand, because yesterday there was another ruling from the court that says that a former MP, Erika Mwati, who was in custody but succeeded in getting a passport, didn't know.
Yes, possession.
That
the passport was a forged one.
Was a forged one. And so we are being told by the same judiciary that if you don't know, you should not be punished.
Exactly. Something they call mens rea.
So how come the next day, people who are not lawyers, who don't understand the issues, the laws of what? Contempt. Considering the fact that they have shown maximum remorse, be handed down this heavy punishment. It tells you that the arms of justice that is supposed to be balanced
appears tilted to one side.
Has tilted to one side. And that is where I worry. And that is where my party worries. It is becoming very difficult for us, possibly even the laymen, to have an understanding now of what really rule of law here is. Because also, as I was saying, during the hearing of the Supreme Court, a lawyer of about 30 years of practice said all kinds of things against the presiding justice.
Then I had to go back.
Justice Atuguba was from
that they should prepare for their casket.
And this person had the capacity. Not only was he a lawyer, but he had the capacity because he was an office holder of a political party. He could mobilize the forces.
And his followers will follow.
These three contemnors who have been convicted, they don't have any capacity.
Absolutely not.
But this person was pardoned on the ground of Beshi.
Courtesy his lawyer.
Who begged, pleaded, and did all. This is a lawyer of 30 years of practice who was taught contempt and knows contempt.
Let me give you a little bit information. You know, when you are called to the bar, you are actually described as a barrister and a solicitor of the Supreme Court, not even the High Court, the highest court. So directly he's an officer of the Supreme Court.
Me, I'm a layman. Me, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a layman. But I follow various arms of government, including the fourth estate of the realm, because that is where I relate with quite a lot.
Yeah.
And so if a lawyer of 30 years of practice, who had the capacity because he was a general secretary of a political party, and who could move and actualize his words, was freed on ground of Bishi and pleading, I cannot understand. And there's no reason why I would accept, even though I respect the independence of the judiciary, I respect the rule of law, I completely see this judgment as very, very and highly harsh. It's too severe, and something ought to be done about it within the remit of the law.
But the excuse of the judges was that they want this to serve as deterrent.
Look,
and that other media houses who have possible intention of allowing panelists to engage in some of this discussion should learn from this ruling.
You see, we have been told, and again also, I'm surprised, the very same Supreme Court, you know, the National Media Commission have worked out some policy programs to be able to control the media content and all that. And it was taken to the Supreme Court. The reason for which it was taken is that the Media Commission may indirectly be controlling content and possibly be sentencing, getting people to be sentenced for criminal libel, which had been repealed by the processes that they were introducing. This same Supreme Court has injuncted the application of these processes of regulation, of content regulation and all that of the media houses and platform.
Because they believe in the
press freedom. The press freedom. They believe in the freedom of the press. They believe that no arm should have that right to criminalize speech and to criminalize content. Today, the Supreme Court is acting differently from what they themselves, in a way, injuncted upon. I don't understand. I'm a layman. You could guide me. There is nothing more important than the right to express yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
When you suppress people, you get a reaction that is not appropriate. And so for me, anything that stores the freedom to express yourself, I would not go for it. I would not support it. And I think that 29th July, which marks 2016, which is this Friday, which will mark the 15th anniversary of the repeal of the criminal libel law, will go down in history as maybe a day that that freedom that we wanted to celebrate have in a way been it's been dipped, it's gone down again due to this action. For me, it's unfortunate. I don't want to. Now that the judgment has been handed down, we can do all analysis of it. Looked at even the supposed comments. Yes, there's no way I'll sit here and justify denigration of a court. No. My party don't believe in that. That was why we issued a statement indicating clearly that people who speak for the party must be careful not to denigrate institutions of state, which included even the Electoral Commission, not only the Supreme Court. So I will not. But I wonder if somebody says that the action and the behavior of justices was fallacious. You should cite the person for contempt.
Interesting times.
For such things. And it's really
I remember lawyer Nana Tidazi attempted to seek clarification from the Lord Justices, because there appears to be a very fine line between criticizing and being held in contempt. Because he was looking at critical comment made with high pitch. For instance, if you hear me on radio yelling, "It is not true, I don't believe this," when you hear the tenor, that alone suggests to you that I was speaking in a very pent-up mood. But that the words really used, are they offensive? So he made an attempt to seek clarification, but he was shut down as none of the explanation made sense to their Lord Justices, quoting them.
What worries most also is the fact that a frequency owner, you apply for a frequency, you don't control content, you don't do anything, you are somewhere, and they say, because somebody, assuming even the words were contemptuous of court, you don't control the words that the panel is using.
You never know what the panelist is going to say.
When you are in charge of production,
you don't
that
know.
is why we hold the particular individual for the contempt, because he is the one who is authoring those words.
It's difficult to preempt the intention of people.
I'm so surprised that frequency owner, board, and managers of those who had shareholders,
directors were all
convicted. And these are persons who have served this country in a very high level with respect, without any blemish.
The interesting thing is that one of the owners happens to be the secretary of the network broadcasting, and he has been a lawyer of over, if my memory serves me, about 40 years practice.
Mr. Bram Labi, a very respected lawyer. That you know the person's track record.
And he made explanation to the Lord Justices, but like I said, afterwards, her ladyship, Justice Sufaya Kufu, said that none of the explanation made sense to the Lord Justices in their wisdom, and therefore they will proceed to convict. This is a discretion they have. You know, and so
I heard you people say that did you say justice or the law is in the bosom
of the judge?
Of the judge? No. I think we must all share in this justice, because that justice is held for and on behalf
of the good people of Ghana. The Constitution makes that very clear.
And it must be exercised such that we are protecting the good people of this country. I think they over-exercised, if I can use that word, that debate. But it calls to mind whether, so should we continue to keep the criminal libel so that the president and the executive,
it appears they don't have any protection,
insulted and be denigrated and no protection. But for the judiciary, immediately you try, hey, then we should bring back the criminal libel so that all arms will be protected. Then we all go back to ground zero and see who will be reporting for and on behalf of the judiciary, when the media feels that, okay, the executive is protected, the legislature is protected, you two, you are protected, then we two will report so that for anybody, then we will see what will happen. I think that the sentencing of the journalist and two other media panelists was for me harsh.
Okay.
It's too severe, and luckily our laws kind of allow for the president, when appealed upon, or when he so feel, Article 72,
to grant pardon,
or to
lessen the punishment. He can make it 1 month or even 2 days.
So at least the framers of the Constitution, I think, did us some good.
Is the NDC looking forward to that?
Seriously, that is the only hope now, because if the Supreme Court was itself the prosecutors, they were the judges, they were the everything.
Unfortunately,
there's no way you
the
can
trial
go
of
for
contempt allows them to do that.
And that's what I'm saying. You cannot appeal to anybody. If you go for a review, it's the same people who will be sitting. If it were to be a lower court,
then you
and maybe you can say that you want to go through the appellate process. But in this case, you cannot have appellate.
You started from the top.
You started from the top.
Nobody
if
else
you go
has
for
the
review,
capacity.
it's the same people. So the only other thing left now
is to look at the executive.
Is to look up to the executive and to consider the Ghana's constitution, because we expect the president to be the absolute guide, the one to guide and hold our constitution high.
What is likely to be the outcome should the president intervene? Do you think that would undermine, or the Supreme Court judges would deem it as undermining their power?
I'm sure, seriously, the Supreme Court justices themselves, after delivering that judgment, if you can go into their minds, will feel that maybe they wish they didn't do what they did.
Maybe 1 month or 1 week.
Possibly, or even less, or even the fines.
Well, you know,
would have been additional fine. And in default of the payment of by tomorrow,
so restricted the time.
Another 1 month. One Professor Kweku Asare, he's been doing some writings on
Facebook.
On this. Facebook, and his comments were really and he is also calling on the president immediately
to invoke Article
72.
Okay.
He's pleading with the president, and that if he doesn't, he would have been doing a great disservice to this country. And I know we have a president who listens. We have a president who cares about this country. We have a president who cares about his people. And I believe that he will act right.
You remember?
I don't think that an appeal to the president on this occasion and his action to pardon or to remit or whichever laws that will allow him to be able to grant a certain respite to this person should be perceived by anybody, by the judiciary or even the justices who sat on the case, as a slight on them. Indeed, the executive have shown clear that they never and will never interfere with the work and activities.
I think Her Ladyship Justice Sophia Akufu made it very clear that not even the president can control them. So this clearly is not a control.
And the president didn't control. They have acted, and the law allows the president also to act.
The same
so
constitution.
I will be shocked that when they act in law,
yes,
and the president also acts in law according to the constitution, they will feel slighted.
And the law does not allow them to nitpick which part of the constitution
they want to be applied. So I will really be shocked that any justice or any lawyer in this country would actually come out to say that one section should be allowed to use the constitution and the law, and another section should not be allowed to use the constitution and the law. We voted for the constitution in its entirety. In 1992, when we queued to vote for the constitution, we didn't vote for it in parts and pieces. We voted for the constitution in its entirety. And we know that every part of the constitution we intend to keep.
Absolutely.
So if the judiciary have acted according to the constitution,
the president
can also act according to the constitution, and nobody should speak then that the president is undermining, because he would not have done anything ultra-vires. He would have done something that is provided in the constitution.
You remember Jima, who shot dead a taxi driver? He was pardoned, was he not? And that was murder. I think that for a charge of contempt, but this is the issue making rounds. They said that once you pardon them, then it means that maybe perhaps the president is the one who, in the first place, even ask them to go and be making those pronouncements, and then, you know, and so people are really trying to reach some political meaning even before the president would act, should he decide to.
Why would anybody want to say that? So we just punish people for without any reason, because contempt is like that you are already found guilty.
Yes.
Because the reason for which they have called you to appear before them is that they have made up their minds that what you said was contemptuous of them.
That is it.
So you are found guilty, and then you are now asked to come and prove why you must not be convicted. So they are the prosecutors, more like they were the judges. They didn't even wait for the Attorney General to attempt to initiate the process in this case. So if they could do that and be the judges of their own court and their own prosecution, then why would anybody say that if the president acted on appeals that is already coming strongly to him? And Professor Caucus is one person who has never, most of the times, his articles that I read, he doesn't write good things about the government and this president.
He's not a friend of this government, by the way.
He's not a friend of the government. So are they going to say that, okay, so it was Professor Caucus who sent them also to go and do that? That's why he is one of the first person who has been writing on legal issues to strike an article? No, I don't think so. And I don't think that the president should ever consider or entertain any such thing when called upon, as it's been done now, to intervene and exercise the rights that the Constitution so give him.
Okay. I see. Interesting. But I want us to go for a break, but this part is very interesting. Of course, then the argument would be of no consequence, that the judges will begin to feel unsafe because the people that they deemed threatening their lives have now been pardoned. But this is the catch. I don't think that the president and his wisdom would want to, I mean, if you can pardon a murderer, I don't think the president would want to make a very dangerous mistake of pardoning people whose freedom will be a danger to the justices.
In the first place, you must realize that the president has a responsibility to protect all of us. He has a responsibility to lead that process. And so the president, who is the commander-in-chief, would not take any step that will undermine the security of the state. And don't also forget that the security agencies of this country have long given indication that based on the interviews, the interrogation of these persons, they've realized that they have no capacity to be able to put into effect the words, even if the words that their pronouncement was deemed to be of contempt of court, to even effect it. Akogan is a father of 3.
I know him very well. He's a good friend.
And so there's no way that he will do. Mugabe is a father. Alista, same. These are people who will not do anything to undermine, to do anything that they will undermine the state's security.
Interesting. The other worrying issue is that people are really at a loss as to what should be the next step forward. But of course, I know as an NDC party, strategies have been put in place.
No, but of course, this is even a call to duty. Nobody, and I want my people to look at me in the face and listen to me very well, that nobody should go underwater because of this action, or should go down because of this action, but because of this judgment. This is the time we must be called to even duty, to even higher duty. This is the more reason why, if you feel that you disagree with the conviction and you are an NDC person, this is the more reason why you must even work harder to continue to keep your party in government. So that at any time you feel that one arm maybe takes an action that you deem possibly not to be right, you can have a balance of getting another side to be able to balance it up. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I accept the fact that anybody will say that because of this ruling, if you are a communicator, for example, or you associate with the NDC, or you are taking a step back, I'm rather calling on them. This is the time they must. You know, the reason why when in the military, especially the Air Force, when they crash, the plane crash, the Air Force commander give orders for the flying officers to go into the planes that are there and just fly.
Okay.
The reason being that you don't want them to stay in a fear.
Okay.
Once they do that, they are assuring themselves that yes, it was an accident that happened.
But it changes nothing.
It changes nothing. And that flying is still the safest.
Indeed.
That we can still fly and do all our antics. This is the time I want to call on our party people and those who believe in the good that is happening to this country, in what President Mahama is doing. In they believe in the game changer, what is going on. This is the time we must speak. This is the time we must even do more legwork to keep this party in power.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you heard Mr. Kofi Adams. Do not be demoralized. Just continue to do your work and work even harder. When we come back, we'll take a look at the outcome of the Accounting to the People tour as completed by His Excellency, the President. We'll be right back. Stay with me. And welcome back to the show. If you're just joining us, this is Majority Caucus, and we are live on your Joy News channel on your multi-TV. Let me take a quick read at the messages coming on our WhatsApp line. This one says, this is too harsh. People have ruined, okay, I think he meant people have rained insults on the president, and not up till now, nothing has been done. Why the judiciary, he meant, above the law, the judiciary above the law, for crying out loud. This one says, please, I want to know if our Radio Gold 2 have been taken from multi-TV decoder from Kwame Nkrumah, Shabo, brand secretary. Kwame Nkrumah, what is happening is that both Muntie and Radio Gold, as well as Gold TV, are both off air as we speak. It's in solidarity, I suppose, with what happened today at the Supreme Court. But of course, shortly afterwards, I'm sure they will be back in full transmission. This one said, Navi, I was to watch your program, but Muhammad didn't. No, I think this is an old test. This one says, NDC just don't know the way forward. Show them the exit. Okay. This one says, better educate your communicators to be decent and know that Ghana belongs to all of us. Anyway, peace is what we need, and what they said on that radio was pathetic and below the belt. From Abdullah Abdul Razak in Tamale. This one says, the sentencing of the courts, I believe, is too harsh. There have been several instances where other arms of government and even the first gentleman of the state has been insulted openly with boldness. Nothing was done about that. I think something has to be done about the sentencing. This is from Abdullah Prosper Kumasi. This one says, this is NDC for you. We always make noise and allow people who fought for this country to their fate. I work for NDC as staying constituency organizer on UDS WA campus. I was filled in my papers just because I was campaigning for NDC. Yet after 4 years of completing, I'm at home. And he said that the rest of the texts are not clear. I think you should keep your text messages very short. Mr. Adams.
Yeah, just a short because they are tested. Sometimes if a senior party official come around, he should be able to encourage.
Yes,
you see,
I agree.
I'm one person whose desire is to make sure that every single member of my party, able and willing to work, will find work to do.
Okay.
And that is the very reason why His Excellency the President has been toiling day and night to make sure that the foundation of this country, things that needed to have been done long ago that have not been done, which will generate employment, have been done. All what is needed is continuous support. You see, we have traveled this journey before. In the year 2000, when we were going into elections, we witnessed same complaints. At that time, some of us have come out from the university. Some will say we have done all kinds of things, we are not getting. Some say they have worked, they are not getting anything. And we visited the punishment on ourselves.
Okay.
By we ourselves either staying away or voting for an alternative. That alternative we saw. It never created the job for us that we wanted. Indeed, even put us further down. So we have to suffer to now start bringing the country back again. Indeed, if you look around yourself, you can see that fundamentally a lot has been done. We've brought our heads above water.
Indeed.
All of a sudden, as a result of inability to meet the needs of everybody, if care is not taken again, we will subject ourselves to another punishment and go down again. That process would not result in you getting the job that you yearn for. And that is why I want to challenge my brother to rather continue working, because if somebody got a job yesterday, that person will not be the same person that will be looking for a job tomorrow. So the next opportunity that will come will find you in. So they shouldn't give up.
Okay.
When you give up, you don't win. I want to encourage them that continue fighting. Like the saying from our fathers, that somebody's own may come in the morning, and others will arrive in the afternoon, yet someone else will come in the evening. Maybe you are just so close, the evening is just there for you, and then in the afternoon you decide to quit. Look at Hillary today. She was yesterday declared the nominee for the Democratic Party. She lost the opportunity in 2008.
Yes, against Obama.
Against Barack Obama. She stood by, worked so hard. Today, she's made history.
She didn't go to another party.
As the first woman to be elected to lead a major party in America. And on her way to becoming the first woman president of America. Because it's so clear on the ground. So sometimes it's always good to exercise some restraint, to have some weight. And when it hits on you, you see that everybody will just be around. Look at the speeches that has come from DNC, their convention in Philadelphia.
From Michelle
Obama, from Corey, the senator from New Jersey, from Warren Elizabeth, Massachusetts. You listen to the various persons speak. The physically challenged Samosa, I was tearing listening to, all giving testimony about who. And yesterday's, of course, Bill Clinton.
Yes.
He shows that he still is the master of the game. He spoke so well about this woman. She had the patience
to wait,
and it has paid for.
Okay.
So sometimes I want to appeal to my comrades. Look, some of us seated here, we've served this party from various levels. On campus as staying, we left school, we continued as branch executives, constituency executives, regional executives, national at various levels. We may have other colleagues who may come in a short time and the person may get government appointment. That doesn't mean that I should say, oh, I have worked for the party, all I have been getting is party position. Why me to not go into this? But patience, peace.
It's good to bid your time.
It's good to bid your time. I was disqualified from contesting for game.
Yes, I remember. When the then MP
passed on. I could have gone independent like many people do. But I love this party so much that I said, no way. No way I'll serve this party. Where am I today? National organizer.
And the national campaign coordinator.
National campaign coordinator.
Two serious, sensitive positions.
So, many persons, if you want to be in parliament, I'm going to be coordinating your campaign.
Yes.
I was not allowed to contest for just one seat. I'm going to be coordinating 275 seats. So sometimes, if I had gone independent, that they didn't allow me, I've gone, maybe I would have won.
But that would be it.
That would have taken me out of the party. Because all those who went independent in 2012 and won, today NDC have its candidates in all those constituencies.
Yes, because
in Jirapa, we have Dr. Dakora. In Tamale North, we have Alasan Suhini.
Yes.
In Akan, we have Aziz. These are 3 constituencies that we lost to independents.
Okay.
Today, we have candidates there. Maybe I could have also won mine, and today NDC will have a candidate in Buem. So what would have been my fate? So I want to plead to my brothers. Look up to the leader, what he is doing. Look at the character of the president and ask yourself, do you really want somebody else to be in charge of this country?
That's the pertinent question to ask.
The important question that you should ask. Don't look at what you do not have. Look at what you have. The peace is important. Because if there is no peace and security, you can't even go looking for jobs.
Nothing would prosper.
Nothing will happen. The commander-in-chief, the president, is the one that lead that process. So if you have a choice to make, the one who has proven to you that in the last 4 years, he's able to hold this country together and cares about everybody's fuure, you want to think that we should do that and go and bring someone that you are not sure of, someone who has proven, as I always say, class prefect you couldn't be, is school prefect that you want to be.
That's too big a position for you.
That's too big a position for you. Because class prefect, yours is to make sure that the board is clean.
The classroom is swept.
The classroom is swept. The cupboard is kept. And you couldn't manage just these 3-4 duties. And you want to be made the school prefect to manage the classrooms, the houses, and then the rest. No way.
That's a non-starter.
That's a non-starter.
But let me just chip in for want of time. What has been the outcome of the president accounting to the people toll?
I think it's been great.
Okay.
The argument had always been that President Mahama has done nothing.
Oh,
the argument had been that they were demonstrating photoshopped projects for people. So I met somebody who said she posted one of the schools, the Mahama schools, on her, copied from somebody's wall and placed it on her wall. Okay. And people said, so you two are allowing these people to deceive you with this photoshopped project. So she thought of believed it because she didn't believe that such a school
exists in Ghana,
will exist in Ghana and in such an area. Places like Chinderi, Bamianko and the rest, you see great schools like this. She didn't believe it. So she was believing those who were saying that Photoshop. Until when the president went to Ashanti region and saw chiefs and others gathered and talk, he said, but this is the same thing that I saw and they said Photoshop. So not knowing that is a lie. That's why I talk about the has demonstrated to the good people of this country what it is that he has been doing when people want, because they know that we don't normally like to read. We love to buy books, but usually we don't want to read. Sometimes even when we are not interested in what is happening at another place, we are only concerned so much about what is happening around us. So somebody may live just in Accra here and may not go anywhere. Somebody may live only in Chinderi and has not gone anywhere. So he doesn't even know that a road like from the Eastern Corridor Road, where if those days you were traveling even with a 4-wheel, you should be thankful if you are able to make your journey in a day. In 24 hours to move from, say, Accra and get to Nkwanta. Because either your car will get stuck or another car is stuck and therefore no car can move. Today, even the Mahama can move, those the 3-wheel tricycles. You can take it from Accra here and go to Nkwanta.
Because the road is smooth.
Because the road is smooth.
Interesting.
If he doesn't go on the road, he cannot demonstrate some of these things. People may not know. Somebody living in far away may not know that this is existing. His movement and with the media following has demonstrated that he's doing something. And for me, what gave me joy, and that was what the NPP people were mocking. And it demonstrated who they are, that they don't care about this country.
Okay.
When we were young and we were growing up in the village, we were so elated to stand by the roadside just to watch government official vehicles pass
and be waving at them.
And be waving at the vehicles. They may not even have the courtesy to even lower their glasses.
No way.
We were just so happy. Today, you have the number one citizen of this country, the president, stop his convoy and engage not adults 18 years and above who have votes because he wants just their vote, but he was engaging the little children.
Absolutely amazing.
Motivating them, letting them know that I went through this process that you are going through. You can become like me. If I'm a parent, that's the person I'll give my support to.
Okay.
Because I see that he values my future and the future of my children. Because my future is my children. The country's future is those young ones.
Absolutely.
And for the president to find time and for MPP to be mocking him that he was having children's store, they don't know what they are talking about.
Clearly, they do not have visionary leaders, if you ask me. But recently, you've been in the news for coming to the aid of Miss Bell. Does that have anything to do with the campaign strategy?
It's not just Miss Bell.
Yes.
It's just every other person, including even chiefs and other celebrated persons who see the good and talk about it. Immediately you talk about the good that is happening to this country that you have not seen before. You are insulted and denigrated. Chiefs have been insulted. Men of God have been insulted. Artists have been insulted and so on and so forth for speaking the truth. And that was why when one chief in Yamfo, who said he was asking for people to vote for Nanado, added the provide so that even if they will kill him, I said, in NDC, we will not even insult you. Let alone come and take your life for supporting Nanado. Because that is your right. So you don't even need to add that. Those who insult chiefs from Yamfo to Sunyani is not far. The Omani of Sunyani who said President Mahama has done so well, and if others are talking about giving him 70%, and they were going to make it, some are talking about 50-50, they were making it 80%. The insults that were rained on him by the leadership of MPP. We won't do that. So the chief even didn't need to do that. They are the ones that, once somebody comes out to speak the truth, it is my duty and the duty of many to stand for those persons and speak for them, so that you don't allow destroyers of this country to lambast everybody and push them into quietness. Because it is not the existence of the bad ones that destroys a country, but when the good ones keep quiet.
Yes, when the bad act is being perpetuated. They said that you are claiming that you are interested, your government, the NDC government, is interested in creating jobs. And yet Akufo-Addo is there promising one district, one factory, and you are contesting him. Some even say the idea of the NDC government stolen by the MPP.
What it is that it is only Nanado who claimed that he has ideas, and when he brings them up during this period, they will be stolen. We don't care about that. We always believe in, if we have ideas, we put them out there for people to see what it is that we intend to do and what it is that we are doing. That's why we are not ashamed that we put together a document officially altered and signed by Honorable Haruna Idris when he was Minister for Trade and Industry that talked about district industrialization project that affects all the districts across this country, aside the major ones that is going on. You know why Nanado went talking about one district, one factory issue in the central region? President Mahama had built the Commander Sugar Factory. When that project started, they said it was not going to happen. It was not
This is a white elephant.
White elephant. When it was completed and commissioned or inaugurated, they said, they started attacking it through the minority in parliament, that why would you cite a factory there when it is close to the sea? And so on. Meaning that coastal communities don't deserve factories. That's by extension their argument.
Yes.
That coastal communities from Aflao to Elubo, they don't deserve factories because they are in the coastal areas, and that the sea water will result in rusting of, so they don't deserve. When you realize the negativity and the reception that Ghanaians were giving to such an intervention from a game changer, he thought that, let me just go and make a promise that would see that, oh, we are not against, but we will do. Meanwhile, he doesn't intend to keep. If Nanado really mean well, that was his key promise to the people of this country. When he started his tour, that would have been one of the first things he would have announced. But when he went to Western Region, he said, my chairman is from your area, so vote for me.
Yes, he said he's an man.
That was his message. He came to Accra, he was just walking around. He said, oh, playing cards at some of the places. He went to Cape Coast Poly, where students are being trained, and when they come out, they will need jobs. He didn't promise them one district, one factory. He said he will convert the polytechnics. What President Mahama is already doing, except that the Cape Coast Poly at that time did not meet the technical committee recommendation, and that was why it had not been converted. He thought that he was patrolling, taking advantage.
And he knew.
And he knew that they were doing that.
Yes.
But he knew us, but he wanted to promise this because that was why the students were also looking for them. Then now populism. Now he comes out knowing that President Mahama has done a factory that is intervening rightly, and the negativity was against them. Let me go and make another promise, which he knows he doesn't intend to keep. You see, when people, this is a man who led a demonstration in this country against fuel prices and against VATs and all that resulted in loss of lives, only to be in government and supervise an increase in the very same VAT.
So an act of double standard.
And increase fuel also, an act of double standard. It's not a man that people should trust, that he keeps his words. No.
Absolutely.
We shouldn't make that
it's very sad that the discussion is getting heated up. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. But this, let me end with a message from Salis Ali from Takwa. He says, Mr. Kofi Adams, you are too much. I would like to be your friend. Thank you for being a part of this show, as always. We'll make a date next week, Wednesday, God willing. Till then, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.